Hey guys, I'm going to go live a little bit early here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know my earbuds are working here. Um, I am on my laptop today because my internet is like super slow, and I was afraid that it would go down right in the middle of this. So you can hear me. All right, good to go, James. Thank you. Yeah, guys. Jessica will be on here in just a minute or so. So welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming. Let's talk about Privy today and see how we can help you use this software more and be more proficient at using it. If you're not already using it, it's a great software to find on market deals, right? Stuff on the MLS that you can wholesale or flip or whatever investment strategy you have. Hey Tyrone, how you doing, man? Where's everybody from? Everybody pop in there. James is up in Pennsylvania. Everybody else pop in there and tell me where you're at today. I'm here in sunny Florida. You can see the palm trees out there. It's nice. I got my motorcycle out yesterday. The weather's good. Good bike ride weather. I do these on. I like doing these webinars on StreamYard because the replay is better. I post a replay into the group and that looks a lot better. Um, but I like Zoom because of the interaction because I can see everybody and talk to everybody. Um, but but unfortunately, this platform does do a better recording. The screen shares better when I have a guest on and all that stuff. So that's why I do them on here. I wish I could talk to you guys. I'm going to look here. I don't think I can bring somebody on. Oh, I guess I can. I can invite if you are on StreamYard. I can invite you to the into the studio to talk to us. But I'm getting better at all these things here. I did message Jessica and she was almost ready to go, so she'll be on here in just a minute, guys. She's late by a minute now. You guys got any community wholesaling partners community questions while we're waiting for her? Hey, Arkansas, how you doing there? On YouTube. Oh, here comes Jessica now. There she is.
Hello, everyone.
We're sitting here talking about you, waiting for you to come on.
Well, thanks for waiting and not shutting everything down.
Oh no, wait on you. I would have gave you at least 10 minutes. So I told everybody I'm streaming from my laptop today because my internet's really bad. So I've got it hooked to my hotspot on my mobile phone. So if I go down, you're in charge. Okay, so keep it going.
Okay, cool. And
All right.
I just realized I put on this blazer and the buttons are knocking against my desk. So
We'll
I'm
pretend
folded
like we
over.
we'll pretend like we don't hear it.
Okay, I just folded the sleeves over so it won't happen.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to meet with you guys again. We had a really good turnout last time, and
Yeah, we
I'm
did.
really happy. Yeah. So I love bringing value to new wholesalers. I know it's stressful to get things started. Even experienced wholesalers too can benefit a lot from this. So I'm happy
Yeah.
to be here.
Yeah. So, for everybody here, in the wholesaling partners community, I want to, everybody's got a lot of software, right? We've got Privy and PropStream and Deal Machine and all that, but see a lot of people don't know how to use it, right? They know basic functions, but they really can't dig into it deep. They don't know how it works well. So what I want to do with Jessica is just get on here weekly, her schedule permitting, and really dig into Privy and what it can do and how you guys can use it and how you can find more deals, right? So if you're already subscribed to it, you might as well get everything out of it, right? You know, make it worth it and put it to use. Don't just pay for something and have it, you know, there every time, you know, once a month when you decide to log into it. Let's learn it well and use it all the time. Like Rodney said, you just described me to a T, David. I mean, like we all do it, right? I've had Canva for years and I use it every day and I make like YouTube thumbnails and stuff, but I don't even scratch the surface of what Canva could do. So, but everybody does that, right? We sign up for stuff and we just, we just hang on to it just for fun. But let's dig in and let's learn how to use Privy. So we all know how to use it, even me included. So I know how to use it better. So with that said, Jessica, you want to pull up your screen and let's what we could do is just do maybe just go through it like a basic demo or walkthrough, and as we go, if people want to ask questions about what you're talking about, I'll kind of monitor the questions and have you answer them for us.
Sure. And I do want to comment on something that you just said, because I think that it's very common for people in this industry or really starting with any type of entrepreneur journey, doing things halfway, right? So it's not even just with like softwares. And before I worked at Privy, I was a Privy user and a Privy affiliate. And I'm also guilty of taking forever to learn how to use the software. And it was in my head because it was a lot easier than I was making it. We just naturally have resistance to things we're unfamiliar with. And sometimes we make a bigger deal in our head than what it really is. And sometimes you just need to be like, all right, no matter what, I'm just going to drop the resistance right now and just do it for 10 minutes. I'm just going to do 10 minutes. And then you'll realize it's easier than what you thought it was, right? So I wanted to mention that because I noticed that I've had that habit, and a lot of entrepreneurs have a habit where there's, using a whole bunch of different softwares partially and not fully using a software to its full capability. So then you're always looking for alternatives and something to fill in the gaps when you could have just used one thing to its full capacity and not complicated your life. And then also in terms of what you want to do, or even what kind of real estate strategy you want to focus on, or, sometimes you don't have to do acquisitions and dispositions. You could get really good at acquisitions and work with someone who's really good at dispositions, and you'll be able to do a higher volume, and you could work with someone who's keeping you accountable. And sometimes, like you don't have to learn how to do everything and use a million different types of tools. Like pick one and get really good at it, right? And then pick one strategy and get really good at it. And then work with someone who's really good at another strategy. And then you guys can be really good at what you do working together, and you could be successful that way. Because, it's better to make $5,000 than $0, right? Yeah. So you don't need to have it in your head like, oh, but I want to get the whole spread of a wholesale deal, getting $10,000. Like, why don't you work with someone who's really good at one thing and you can be good at the other, and you can both make $5,000 and do it 20 times.
Don't let greed keep you from making any money, right? Oh, no, I don't want to share. I'm just going to do a deal and keep it all myself. But then you never do a deal and you have $0, right? So it's good advice. And what you said prior to that, people in this industry do that, in any industry or any profession, but they buy stuff, right? And they partially use, and then they go, oh, I need something to do this. Oh, I need something to do that. Where really some of the tools you have will do so many of the things, you just never take the time to learn it. Right? It's just, they said I need this. Oh, they said I need that. Oh, I need a website for this. Oh, I need this and that. And before we know it, we're paying $500 a month in subscriptions of things that we don't know how to use. But you're like, oh, I don't want to get rid of it, but I don't know how to use it. So let's take this opportunity. Everybody here, we got 34 people on here, which is awesome. Let's take this opportunity to learn how to use Privy. We'll come back every week. We'll answer questions, but let's learn how to do this so it makes money for you. Then it's not a liability, it's an asset.
Yes, let's Agreed? Do it. Yeah.
Aaron said he's guilty of doing that. We're all We're all guilty of it, but let's
We're
all get
all
better at it together.
You know where
So,
this disease starts from, David? It's from YouTube University, because it's set up that way. You see like a whole new video on the side popping up, and it's like, I need to know that, and I need to know that, and I need to know that. And then you're looking at like 30 different videos that you have to figure out how to put together, and they're using 10 different softwares.
yeah.
And then you're like, I need all of those because that's the one feature I saw in each of these videos.
And Facebook groups, right? Everybody in
Yeah.
Facebook groups. Oh, you need that. And guys, I mean, honestly, we're going on a little bit about this, but remember that when you're watching YouTube, and it's me included, right? Because I'm an affiliate marketer and I promote products, right? But I try to give value. If you like this, right? If you sign up for Privy and you use my link, or you're in the Wholesaling Partners community, I want you to use it. Yeah, I make a couple bucks when you sign up for it, but more importantly, I want it to work for you. But remember that when you're on YouTube, right, and you're seeing video after video, everybody promoting something on YouTube is an affiliate marketer. So weigh that with what they're saying, right? Do I really need it? Is it going to benefit me? If so, then buy it, right? But if not, don't buy into everything that you hear that you need.
And master one at a time. You can't learn
All
everything
right.
at the same time.
Jack says, all right, we get the point.
Some people don't.
Let's move on. All right. So teach us something. Get Privy up on your screen, and let's learn something.
All right, Jack, for you, okay?
Just for Jack. Jack's going to keep us accountable.
Yep. All right. So present. Still new to this, so
you're going to be, by next week, you'll be a pro.
Okay. All right. Hopefully this is fine. Good. Share. Okay. All right. So this is Privy. So we have a map of the United States when you first log into your Privy account. And so there are these different colors that you see here, and they represent different types of data. So where you see the blue, these are direct to the MLS, and where you see red, these mean that the MLS is coming soon. There are partnerships in place for that. And then also with the yellow, this is third-party listing data, and the gray is public records. Now, what makes Privy different from these other softwares are, it's actually that Privy is direct to the MLS in almost 100 markets around the country. And what that means is that the MLS data is from properties that were actually listed on the market that have accurate information. And then that information is pushed into our software live 24/7. So the data that's basically put together to create comps and things like that, or to understand a market, it's accurate data coming from the MLS. When you're dealing with these other companies that provide data, they're getting their information from public records and from third-party listing data. And that information is not always accurate.
Mm-hmm. Let me interject on that for a minute. So there are big companies that aggregate data, and one of the biggest is you've heard of First American Title. Well, it's the same company, but it's called First American Data Services. Okay, so they collect like all this MLS data and all the filters you see on all the software, the pre-probate and the liens and the different filters, right? And they collect this data, and a lot of these softwares that everybody use, like PropStream and Deal Machine and RealFlow and all of that, they'll do data dumps like once or twice a month. Okay, but Privy has MLS, direct access in everywhere you see blue, where it just pulls it in real time into Privy, or that day. I don't know if it's constantly working, but the same day.
All the time.
Oh, is it live? Okay, so it's live.
Yeah, like you just see the status change.
All right, so that's the difference, right? So all the other software, it's, the information they're buying is good data, but they're only updating it every time they dump a file in. So, like I said, once a month or twice a month. So on Privy, when you're looking at Privy, it's real-time data. Okay, I just wanted to throw that in there and kind of educate people on where the data comes from.
Yeah. So the goal is to get the MLS to be direct to MLS in pretty much every very active market in the country. So, I mean, we've been steadily getting more and more, and it's always improving, and we're constantly getting new features as well. Whenever we have our customers giving feedback, we're always adding new features. So, if you click this button here, fix and flip, it'll show you the investor activity around the country. And then wherever you see the larger numbers, these are obviously where there's more transactions happening. So you can look around and see that there are a lot of good markets with tons of transactions. And nowadays, what a lot of people are doing when they're getting into wholesaling, they are, they're just hoping to get something under contract. And I'm sure you've experienced that a lot of times these deals, they're in rural areas where you can't really find a lot of comps. And that's where it gets really hard to find a buyer for your deal. So if you look in places where the investor activity is very high, then it'll be easier for you to get something under contract at a good price that'll give you a profit, and it will also help you to find a buyer very quickly. The other thing you can do is do this reverse REI strategy where you find your buyer first, and then you look for deals that match the buyer's criteria, and that'll actually make your life a lot easier and less stress when it comes to selling the deal.
All right, so question for you real quick, Jessica. So you push the fix and flip, and you've got the properties that come up there. And what Privy is doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what Privy is doing is looking at houses that were bought at a discount and resold for a profit in a certain period of time, correct?
Yeah.
In a short period of time.
Yep, within an 18-month period.
Okay.
It's basically looking at properties that were bought at less than 75% of the ARV and resold within an 18-month period, and it flags it as an investment property or fix and flipper.
Okay, so guys, that's what the software is doing. It's got it's got filters, and we'll get into that, but it will go in and look for properties here that have been bought, fixed up, and resold for a profit, and it's saying, okay, here's, and you can see all the numbers, 110 and have happened here, 45 here, 600 in this metro area or whatever. So that's what the software is doing. So it's trying to help you identify hot markets of investor activity.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember which market we did last time? We were looking in St. Louis.
I think St. Louis.
Okay, so let's take a look in Indianapolis. There's a lot of good activity over here. And if you guys are wholesaling virtually, obviously, if you're not in person to go look at properties, it's really hard to learn markets virtually. But when you have data like what Privy has, you can learn the markets and see what the trends are over there. So I'm just going to zoom in here. Now, wherever you see the highest numbers, that's where the most activity is happening. So it looks like this area is really hot. And the more you zoom into these clusters, the clusters then break up into individual properties. So it's loading here. And then on the left here, you can see these are sold properties that came in. These were sold on the MLS. And, there's a lot of emphasis on off-market properties that most wholesalers are going for, but it's been proven that around 60% of properties that are sold on the MLS, and there are actually tons of discounted properties that are on the MLS, which is a huge misconception. There are no deals on the MLS, so we're gonna look at that today, so you guys can see it for yourself. So these are properties that were sold. You could see all of the dates here, and some really valuable info that you can find here is understanding who the fix and flippers are. So if you want to build your buyers list, which is what's recommended to do first, then that way you can have those buyers lined up before you start looking for deals. And then you could put their buying criteria into the filter to find deals that fit what they're looking for. So what I just opened here, this is a comparative market analysis. It's a property card, which our system generates 24/7 for every single property in the United States, with all data that's pulled in from the MLS, from public sources. And then so it forms these comparative market analysis, which you can also use these to send a property to a lender or to an agent or to your buyer, or to a partner. So even if they don't have a Privy account, you would be able to click share and share a property with them, which is really nice. So you don't have to gather data yourself.
So if you're, let me now extrapolate on that a little bit. So if you're, you've got something under contract and you're sending it to them and say, here's a property in this area, and it's, here's what the ARV would be, the after repair value. You can send them comps to show them what other fix and flip people are doing in that area and show them that the ARV would actually be that, because these are sold properties that have already been rehabbed and flipped.
Yeah. So as you scroll down here, there are different sections to the CMA, comparative market analysis. You can see the MLS details, the comparables, the comps, also before and after photos, and the public records. There are two types of accounts you can get on Privy. One of them is an investor account. The other one is an agent account. The only difference is that if you have an agent account, it would be if you have like an MLS ID that you put in because you are licensed. And in that case, you'll be able to add your logo when sending this out to buyer clients, which you can also automate that. And it also shows private remarks. Other than that, there's really not much of a difference between the investor and agent account. In this case, this is an agent account, so it does show all of the information for the agents. It really varies market by market if you could see the agent information on a regular investor account. However, they have their information all over the internet, so you could just do a Google search and get the contact info for the agents if you need to.
If the property's listed or has been listed, you should just be able to Google the number and find out who the agent was on it. Hey, real quick, everybody in here, just if you were a realtor or you have your real estate license, just put realtor or yes in the comment. I'm just curious how many realtors, if any, we've got in here. All right, sorry, I interrupted.
No,
I just thought, I wondered if maybe sometime we should do a realtor training. So that's all I wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, realtors are always struggling to get deals, and there's so much competition. But if they were to focus more on investor buyers and use a tool like Privy, it would change their life. So it's good to know if there are agents out there.
We've got one. Casey's a realtor.
Awesome. And we do have a lot of agents that use Privy, because even though agents can log into the MLS themselves, the MLS is not, it's not designed in a way that's really investor friendly. And in order to find investor friendly properties, you would still have to flip through tons of photos and see if there's a distressed property. Then you have to figure out, what are the comps for this property? And it's very time consuming. And I've personally done that before. So when you use Privy, it's literally done in a second. And so you save a ton of time and headache.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get more into the comp section when we look at active listings, but you can also see through Privy, the before and after pictures are next to each other. So you can see what the transformation was like. And you can also see that whoever did this flip, they bought this property on the MLS. So people think that, you can't like wholesale deals off the MLS or find deals on the MLS. This flipper found this deal on the MLS and we're going to see how much they bought it for as well. But these are the before and after pictures, so you can
I love
see.
love this feature. I love this feature about Privy where it pulls in from the last listing, it pulls in the pictures and you can look how nasty it was, right? And then from the sold listing and you can compare them. And it's nothing, nobody else has that I've seen.
Yeah. So this is and this is really good for learning your market and seeing like what the renovations should look like. If you want to sell a property for 220,000, if you're a flipper, you know what the standard is for that market. It needs to be like at this level, right? So now when we scroll down here, we're going to see that this fix and flipper bought this property on the MLS on market for $90,000, and they sold it on the MLS to the retail buyer for $220,000. They had a gross profit of $130,000, which means they bought it at 41% of the ARV. So that's a really good deal, and it
That's
was
a
on
good deal.
market. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if you were a wholesaler and you put this under contract, even at, you know, let's say you paid the 90,000 and then you sold it to this buyer for 100,000, they probably would have still bought it. They still have a really nice percentage there. So this is a really good example of how you can find a deal on the MLS, get it under contract, and, you know, even if it's on the MLS, the point is that most buyers, they just have a standard for what the percent of the ARV needs to be. And as long as you bring them something that is at that number, then they'll get it because it works for them.
Right.
So in Privy 2, you can see in the gray is the before information, and the dark, more like a dark gray, is the after information. So in some cases, it looks like this was 4-bed, 4-bath, and they reduced it somehow, maybe opened it up more, which is really interesting. You don't see that very often. And then, you know, a lot of times you'll see that they added a bathroom or they added a bedroom. So you can see the changes there. Then also the construction time, hold time, and the days on the market. The construction time is basically whatever the hold time is minus the days on the market, assuming that the leftover time was how long it took to do the construction before they put it on the market.
Right.
So this is great data. You could see that this buyer buys properties at 41% of the ARV, but you can also do a search for properties that were bought at a higher percentage of the ARV, like 70%, and you can put together a list of buyers that will buy at a higher percentage, and those are really the buyers you want to talk to. Now
I don't remember. Does it? It does show the buyer, right? Does it?
Yep.
Does it show the buyer information?
Yep. So when you go down here, there are different categories, but when you go to the property history, this is where you can see who the fix and flipper was. So this is the original transaction, and then well, it looks like there were changes in prices, and then it was listed. So there was a lot of stuff going on over here. Let me see. Okay, so this is the original one, where it was sold for $90,000. And so this transaction here, this is actually the flipper. So the flipper is the one who bought this property. Let me see. This was 221. Yeah, this was about a year ago. So because this just sold recently, that's probably why the final retail buyer's info is not here just yet.
Yeah, still showing pending. Yeah.
But typically,
but that would be the retail buyer. So
you
Carter
don't need
Management Holdings is the flipper. So
right.
So you guys, so when you're going through this, you want to, on your, cash buyer, spreadsheet or, or CRM or whatever, you want to grab that company and, search them and get a phone number for them, go on open corporates and look them up, see where they're located at, get their phone number. And then you have another buyer for your list because they're buying and flipping properties in that area.
Yeah. And so I just right clicked it and it took me to Carter Management Holdings, and it looks like this is their website. A lot of times you're not going to get a website like that because some companies have like a lot of different LLCs.
Yeah.
But in this case, I mean, a lot of times you could go to Open Corporates and look on True People Search to get a phone number. But here, I mean, it looks like this is the website, which makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they have a website, does make it easy. Hey, real quick, let's answer a couple of questions real quick. Aaron wants to know if Privy has comp information in Texas, since Texas is a non-disclosure state.
Yes, that's a really good question. And the answer is yes, as long as it's a market where we are direct to the MLS, even if it's a non disclosure state, you would be seeing all of that property info. The only thing that you wouldn't see if you don't have the agent account is like the agent remarks and contact information. If in that market, they don't list the contact information for the agents, which again is very easy to find just with a Google search.
Yeah. Rodney wants to know, so is that a flipper now, a prospective buyer? Should I reach out?
Yep,
Yes, you should. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely,
So
Rodney.
Carter
Yeah.
Management, yep, Carter Management Holdings is the flipper on this property. And so instead of just calling up buyers and being like, hey, you want to be on my buyers list and sounding like an amateur, right? You can sound very knowledgeable and be like, when you can go on their website and say, I saw you guys did a flip on, that was Rodney asking the question.
About reaching out. Yeah, Rodney.
Yeah. So, hi, my name's Rodney, and I saw that you did a flip at 19 Jefferson Avenue in Indianapolis. And I love how you give them a compliment about the renovation that they did, what you like about it. And I like how you did this and that. Looks like you did a great job. Or sometimes the construction time is so low and you're like, wow, you did that in such a short period of time. It's amazing. You guys did a really good job. So it opens up the conversation because you already have an address that they did the work on. You know what their work looks like. You already know that they're willing to buy a 3-bed, 3-bath around 1,800 square feet in this zip code. So you already sound like you know what you're talking about, and you can let them know I'm an investor in the area, and sometimes I'll get deals under contract, but I may not keep them. So I like to have a few other investors that I can also share the property with. Are you guys still looking to buy any more deals in the area, or however you want to phrase it?
You can say, you can say, is that what your typical flip looks like? Like, I see, where you bought this or whatever, is that where you're trying to buy them at, less than 50% of ARV, or where you at, and just have some conversation with them and see where they're at. Tim wanted to know why that flip so long that we're looking at. And Tim, that can be, I mean, like, if it's a big company, they could just, came across a good deal and bought it, and it might have sat there for a little bit until they got their crews freed up to go over and work on it. They could be slow.
Yeah. You said
The
why
good
it
does
took
not
so
work
long?
fast. Yeah, why it took so long. I mean, there's
Million
you can't read
reasons why.
yeah, you can't read a crystal ball. Why some companies, they buy them and boom, they're done in 2 or 3 months. Other places, take a year. If it's I've seen a lot of times where it's like an individual buying it. They'll put it in the name of an LLC, but maybe they're new to the business. They're like, oh, I think I'm going to flip some houses, like I see them do on TV and all that. And it takes them a long time to figure out with getting contractors and going through the process. It's very, it's not easy the first time you do it. But,
Yeah.
that's the speculation. It could have been, one of a million reasons why it took them that long to
The
do
contractors might not show up. Something doesn't work out with them. They're fully booked. Then you got to go find another contractor. Maybe there's foundation problems. Maybe there was some plumbing issue that was really serious.
it. There you go.
There are just so many things that could delay the process. So we really don't know. I mean, honestly, even 230 days is not that long, because to be a fix and flip, it's looking for an 18-month period. And this is still less than 12 months. So it's not even that bad.
Oh yeah, and that place was gutted. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
that's a big job. So even if they didn't drag their feet, I mean, you're talking about six months to do something like that if they're crushing it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that bad.
So now, if you guys wanted to build a buyer's list, you can go into Privy, and whenever you find these, you find the fix and flipper, which is it's basically the buyer of the last transaction. If you have the retail buyer here, then it would be the one who sold it to them. So you could take this Carter Holdings LLC. Sorry, it's a little delayed. Carter Management Holdings LLC, and put that in a spreadsheet. You can also you can put the address there, and you can also put that they bought it on market. That's what I've done. I made like a column that they bought it on market, because that's also a really good talking point when you're building your buyers list. I noticed that you bought this property on the market. So you guys are fine with like on market deals if I have something under contract. And then, that's a lot of the anxiety that comes with wholesaling on market. It's like, oh, are they going to take an on market deal? But if you're already finding a buyer who bought a property on market and flipped it, you already know they'll do it, and you could easily bring it up in the conversation. So that's a great thing to have as a note in your spreadsheet when you make your buyers list.
Guys, I was just at a real estate conference here in Clearwater, and I was having this conversation with somebody about investors. Why would an investor want me to bring them an on-market deal? They can go on MLS and find it themselves. And I said, because an investor's they don't care where a deal comes from if it makes sense, right? That's all they care about. Can I buy at the right price? Will I make money on it? And we went around the room at the real estate conference to investors, to a guy that I know that owns several RIA groups and all that. And I asked all of them, I said, would you buy an on-market deal from a wholesaler if the numbers made sense? And every one of them said, absolutely, right? It might be an issue in your head, but it's not in theirs. If it's a good deal, they'll buy it.
Yeah. And a lot of these YouTubers that are teaching off-market strategies, like they'll put that in your head and make you paranoid. But the reality is there are tons of people making a ton of money wholesaling on market deals, and it works. It's just, It all comes down to who are your buyers. All you need is like 5 really good buyers who know who you are, their buy box. And you could get this data easily from Privy. If you take a bunch of these sold properties and go through them and look down in the public records and find, sorry, it's a little delayed, but if you find their information and you make a list of like 15 to 20 buyers, if you can have a good conversation with even 5 of those people, you have 5 really good buyers lined up right here in Indianapolis. And that's all you need. And then you just need to look for deals that fit their criteria, and then, put them under contract and pass it over to them. So, I was curious. So this one too, right? This was the buyer. It's funny. I know these guys. I'm like on their email list. They do a ton of stuff in Indianapolis. So they're the ones who bought this property. They're the flippers, and they bought it at $126,350. They ended up selling it at $363. So that's a really nice deal. Look at that. They bought it at 15% of the ARV. That's crazy.
Nuts. That's a great deal.
And it was on the MLS. They bought it on market at 15% of the ARV. Look at this house. Look how it looks after.
They did some crazy stuff too.
That's incredible.
Kind of slick. Hey, Fred asked, is there any shortcut to get the investor buyer information without going into multiple one by one? No, I don't think on Privy there is. You can't just put, print me a list, right? You can go in and put in criteria, bring up all the solds and go into them like that. But in Wholesaling Partners, I'm starting a 30-day cash buyer list challenge, cash buyer list building challenge next Monday. So hop in there and join that, and we'll work on building your cash buyer list. So, but if you guys are working a market, right, and you should just go in, you've got Privy, you should just go in and be watching that in your market. Maybe set up alerts, and just so when properties are moving, and you can see who's buying them, and what kind of rehabs they're doing, and all that stuff. So
there is another way that you can actually build your buyers list here. So you can actually download all these records here. You can filter them down to be more specific, but Privy allows you to have 10,000 downloads a month. And there are certain companies that are actually very good at skip tracing LLCs. Not every company or service is going to do it, but I do know some of them that are very good at skip tracing LLCs. And you basically just give them the list. There's 156 properties within this map right here. So these are all fix and flippers. There's 156 properties that were flipped, and you can download that list and then give it to a skip tracing company that will get you the phone numbers for every single one of those buyers. So that's another way to do it.
That's a good way.
And that's only 156 records. You could get 10,000 a month.
Yeah, that's a good way. So yeah, do it for your mark. Start picking. Either pick a city or do the map view and zoom into the area you're doing and and print it off and either skip trace it yourself or like Jessica said we can use a company to do that if you want to refer some Jessica when we I can drop it in the group if you give me a couple of them.
Also, if you guys want to find the buyers that buy at the higher percentage of the ARV, which might be good for your challenge, you can go here to sort results and go to ARV. And let me see if it would be the up. I think it would be the down. I don't know what's up with this. This must have been like a portfolio or something.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, so let me click this one and see.
Hey, Tim, the Cash Buyer Challenge starts at 1:30 Eastern on Monday, and it will be recorded.
Awesome. So yeah, it's you see here, this buyer bought it at 74% of the ARV, which is really high. So this buyer is willing to buy at a high percentage of the ARV, which means as a wholesaler, you have an opportunity to get a bigger spread with a buyer like that. This is not an LLC, this seller, it's a person. It might have been her first time. Maybe she bought it kind of high by accident. But you are going to see this pattern where you can find buyers that are LLCs and they are buy and hold investors that are going to buy at a much higher price. So when you go here to sort results, you're simply just going to go to ARV and you're going to click the down button, and then it's going to sort all the properties according to the highest percentage of ARV that the buyer bought it at. So you're going to get all the big buyers over here.
Guys, remember that too. When you're building your buyers list, make sure you have a good mix of fix and flip people and landlords. Right, buy and hold, because when the market shifts one way or the other, you're going to sell more than one or the other. When the market's hot, prices are going up. People are speculating on properties and stuff. Great time to work with fix and flip guys. But when the market slows down and there's more inventory and prices start dropping, that's when the buy and hold people come out of the woodwork, right? Because they're buying at a discount. They can get good deals and just hang on to them. So have a good mix on your list. You don't care who you sell it to as long as they're buying. So, make sure to have both, because if you're just fix and flip and the market goes soft, then you're not moving anything, right? So you want to have both.
Yeah. So what I'm going to show you guys now, this green button right here, we have a patent pending technology on this. It basically takes the algorithm that's used for all these deals, showing that these were flips, and then it turns it around and shows us active deals that are actually on the market that are considered to be deals, and you could put offers in on them right away. So I'm just going to click this button. You can also change the filter to ensure that they are better deals. So you're probably not going to be looking at 75% of the ARV as a wholesaler. I'm just going to do it at like 60% to see what comes up. But you can always put in offers as well. So there are a
Right.
lot of other filters here that you can do. So if you want the purchase price to be like under 200,000, or I'll just put 240 for now. It'll probably be less than that in Indianapolis, but if you can do everything according to your buyer's buy box. If they're looking for properties that are specifically 1,000 to 1,500 square feet, then you can put that in the filter here. And then, there are a lot of things that you can adjust. We do have this checked off as active listings because they're on the market. And the huge benefit of wholesaling on market deals is that you don't have to spend any money on marketing. You don't need to cold call homeowners and get cursed out. You don't need to hire virtual assistants. You don't need to set up a whole entire CRM and put people through all these stages to follow up with all your leads. And you don't need to get in trouble with doing SMS marketing, not knowing what the laws are with that because they're cracking down. It removes so much risk and so much time and so much headache. If you learn how to wholesale on market properties, it just saves you like a ton of time and money. So
Yeah.
it's just a different strategy. Some people will tell you, oh, it doesn't work. Totally not true. We have people using Privy who have literally made millions of dollars wholesaling on market deals.
Yeah. People buy, and everybody you're talking to here has some kind of motivation to sell, right? Because it's listed, right? So you don't have
they
to say,
already want to sell it.
I don't know if they're interested or not. Here every single person. Now, if you can get it at the right prices, you got to use the filters and do your homework and all that. But you know that 100% of these people are interested in selling your property.
Yep. So then you can actually, these are on the market for a super long time. Let's see. These are the newest ones. Yeah. And then also, like, the longer it's on the market, the more they'll usually have motivation to sell or lower the price because no one's buying it. So it's always good to look for listings that are on the market for even more than 60 or 90 days because they're probably starting to get nervous and just need to sell their house. And a lot of times those listings are forgotten about because everyone's so focused on the new stuff coming up. But you can see this one literally came on the market today. This one is 1 day old. I actually like this over here.
Yeah, I like that one too. It's nice and looks kind of sad. Looks like it needs some love.
I like sunrooms, so it looks like there's a little sunroom here. So you can see this property. They have all the photos over here. You can see the age. Actually, it really doesn't even look bad. Like, you could probably just do a little bit of work in this and even make it a rental.
That's a great landlord property. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really doesn't look that bad. Of course, you don't really know until you go there and look at it. And that's another thing with virtual wholesaling. Like, you don't need to go look at the property. If you have your 5 buyers lined up, you just get the property under contract. Obviously, you're going to ask the agent, like, if there's any major damage, any foundation issues, anything with the roof, HVAC. You want to get through all your questions. But then if it looks like a good fit for your buyer is the one that's going to go look at the property and let you know if they want it or not. So you don't have to go there. Which, by the way, I'll show you another thing with Privy, how you can find boots on the ground in these markets as well. But so as you scroll down here, this is where I'm going to get into the comps. So this property on East 16th Street is on the market for $94,900. So here it's just rounding it up to $95,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, built in 1941, 1 day on the market. Okay. Now, when you look at these are comps over here. It looks like there aren't really investor comps. We don't see much like fix and flips, but if you look at the highest priced one here, it says 0 bath because it looks like this was taken from public records. The Indianapolis market, maybe when this was sold, we didn't have it direct to MLS yet. I don't know why it would say 0 bath, but that's the problem with public records, that they're not always accurate. So this property here, it's sold at 135,000. You could click this little eye and it'll open it up. You guys see this new tab, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in this case, we don't see any finished properties. It's not an investor property. But what you can do is you can also adjust the settings here a little bit. So if you want to look a little bit farther out, you can increase the mile radius, or maybe you can increase the delta of the square footage a tiny bit and see if anything else will pop up. In this case, not much, right? But let's see. But let's see. I'm going to go back to these settings. There's also like all, and then there's a investor only button. Okay, so here, the reason why these didn't come up as comps is probably, let's see, there has to be like some reason why. But actually, this looks
Are
like
they
it
sold? Are they still pending?
No, this is sold. Anything that's red over here, it's sold. So I just clicked on all properties, and this one came up. This is they turned this 2-bedroom into a 3-bedroom. And it probably didn't come up because it has a garage. So that's something to take into account. But as far as the other specs, like in terms of the square footage, it's very similar to our subject property. And then also the year built is very similar too. So this could potentially be a good comp. It's just that our property doesn't have a garage. Yeah. Right? So we could take a look at this because it could potentially be a comp for a buyer, just so they have like a gauge of what it's worth. And most of these buyers already know like what is a deal because they specialize in that area, right? Yeah. So,
you worry about, people worry a lot about having to like run the numbers and like what a rehab's going to cost and all that. Don't worry about that because any investor that goes in they're going to estimate the rehab, and they know their numbers. So don't worry so much about doing that. Know what the ARV is. Know what you can get it at. Get it at a discount of what they're buying at already, 50% off or 60% off a market, and let them worry about calculating the rehab number, and don't spend a lot of time on that.
Mm-hmm. This property sold at 198,000. So when you find good comps, like you already can get an idea of what the property is worth and if it's a deal or not, like within a matter of seconds, right? Because you already see the comps are just lined up underneath. In this case, we don't see a ton of like really good comps. In some areas you can, but again, you just need to, like just look into it a little bit more and analyze it and see like what are the best options as comps. Whatever is not a good comp, by the way, you could click this eye with the line through it and it'll disappear. And then like, let's say you do have a buyer that might be interested in this property. Maybe they would have to put in an offer to get it a little bit lower. But you can just share this with them by clicking right here and setting it to their email address. You can BCC yourself. You could type in whatever you want over here or put the address. So you can customize it. And something else that you can do if you're sending these, like if you're doing, we actually had an episode on this, David and I, a couple of weeks ago, we did a video on bird dog fees. Because if you're working with a buyer who doesn't even need you to put it under contract and you guys have an agreement in place and you could just send them deals, you can also put this in a list. So here, manage lists. If you want to put this property into a list, check it. Okay, I'm gonna put it on this list, sent to Doug, which is like one of the buyers, right? And then that way, these are the properties that I sent to this buyer. You have a record of it. You can also make a spreadsheet with them if you want. There are just so many ways to do this, but ultimately, there's definitely a lot of really good data here, and you can find comps pretty much immediately to make very fast decisions and not spend a lot of time on it.
Imagine sitting at home and let's say going to a RIA meeting and meeting buyers, right? Meeting fix and flip people or whatever, and saying, hey, you know what? I'm always searching for good deals, right? MLS, off market, and all that. If I come up with a deal that I'm not going to buy, but it's like a smoking hot deal, would you pay me a $2,500 bird dog fee on it, right? And just do this, right? And set up your filters for each buyer, what they're buying. And every time something pops up, just send it to them. Hey, found a great one for you. Boom. Hey, found another great one for you. Boom. And just send them deals, sign a little agreement like, oh, if I buy something, I'll pay you $2,500 on it, right? And just send them deals. And if they're actively buying, let them flip you a bird dog fee.
Mm-hmm. This property here is 145,900 on the market. And then you can see here that these are properties that were already sold in the area. So this is a 2-2. None of these are like a perfect match. Again, it might be just this little specific niche, this little, what is this? I don't know, like a pocket in a neighborhood that maybe we didn't get like a ton of investor comps on. But you can see actually this was also on the MLS before. Look nice. But there are properties that sold at a much higher price here. Even though this is a 4-bedroom, the square footage is very similar. Actually, our property has more square footage than this 4-bedroom, which some people would just prefer open spaces. So it just feels more spacious. Anyways, you guys get the point. The comps are down here. You can find them very quickly. You can adjust the settings, basement, no basement, the square footage, the mile radius. There are a lot of things that you can do here to move it around and try to find some good comps, but usually like you don't even really need to move anything. And Privy just saves like a ton of time. Think about it. If any of you have ever looked for deals on the MLS or even on Zillow for sale by owner, you have to go through so many distressed property photos. First, you have to see if it's a distressed property. Then if it is a distressed property, then you have to basically run the comps. You're probably using like Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, all these different websites to try to figure out the comps. But what Privy is doing is you literally just go here and put it into a filter that you want to be 60% below the ARV without looking at any photos. It literally extracts all the properties that are 60% below the ARV. So it's a huge time saver. And then you don't even have to go crazy doing the comps because it runs the comps for you. Yeah.
Does it all for you. Can you explain the percent of ARV column in the comps? Fred wants to know.
Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to find.
Hey, Jessica, while you're looking for that, if they use the toolbox promo code, what do they get off the year subscription with that?
Oh my gosh. So David has like a massive discount. So Privy is $149 a month. But with his promo, instead of $149 a month, if you were to do that for a year, it comes out to like $1,700. With the toolbox promo code, you can get it for $1,000 for the year. So
it's a massive. That's a big discount. Big discount. Yeah. Probably the best discount that there is, but don't tell anybody that.
Yeah. Keep it a secret.
Keep it a secret.
And then also for the first month, you would get 20% off of the first month. So
yeah, if you just do the monthly, it's 20 off the first month. If you do yearly, it's like, what is it, 65% or something like? I mean, it's crazy.
It's without the promo code, there's 20% off, but then with the promo code, it's an additional 30% on top of the 20%.
Yeah, it's weird math. It's the new math.
I know. I don't know why it was done like that, but it's a lot. It comes out to like 40 something percent. Is it? Yeah, it's like 40 something percent off or something like that.
Right.
But it's a great discount. Anyways, you get one deal and it more than covers it, and you get a ton of pocket money. So, all right. So we were talking about, what was his question?
It was, can you explain the percent of ARV column on the comps?
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so let's see. Okay, well, let's look at all these sold ones here. So what this column means, or here, if I were to just look at this one, this property is $145,000 on the MLS. Then this property sold at $250,000 on the MLS. It's red, it's already sold, which means this percentage here is saying that if this property at 145K were to sell at 250K, it would be 58% of the ARV.
Right.
That's what that means.
So the after repair value is 250,000, and this is saying that you can buy this property at 50% of that, or 58% of that, right? So it's, you know, if it's potentially worth 250K, 58% is the percent of ARV that you can buy
Of
that
this
at.
property.
So it would have 42% profit margin, or 42% below ARV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, if you have like, let's say this is a good comp, all right, assuming it's a good comp, you can say to your buyer, I have this property, the ARV is like 250,000, and let's say you get this under contract at like 145, and then you want a $10,000 spread, you make it like 155. I'm just throwing out numbers to make it simple. Okay. That's assuming you didn't put in an offer or whatever. So, if you were to sell it or assign the contract to the buyer at 155, basically you could tell them the ARV is around 250. So it's 58% of the ARV at this number, right? So if you were to sell it a little bit higher, then it would change this number a little bit. But if they were to, okay, let me make it simple. That's probably too complicated. Let's just say let's say you get it under contract, $10,000 under this. You get it at 135,000. You tell your buyer, okay, it's 145,000 and the ARV is 250,000. That makes this property 58% of the ARV. If your buyer is willing to buy properties at 60% of the ARV or lower or better, right? Then you're good to go, because you got it at 58% of the ARV. So you can use this column as a guide to know if something's a good fit for your buyer or not. If your buyer will only buy stuff from you that's 55% of the ARV, then you already know that you need to put in a good offer to get it at a price that will still give you a spread big enough to give the buyer the price at 55% of the ARV. But the way that it is right now, if you put in an offer at 135 and got it, and your buyer will buy it at 60% of the ARV, this is below that. So you're good to go.
Tim wants to know if Privy shows canceled or expired listings.
Privy does not have expired listings, but you can filter the results according to what's been on the market the longest. So that way you can see, stuff that's been sitting around for a long time, not expired yet though.
Yeah. Because you could get, you can get that course on the MLS, and you could have a realtor you're working with run you a list of expireds. But this is just on market stuff.
Yeah. Also here, this person, he is a real estate agent in this area. And the reason why he's here is because he has Privy, and he wants wholesalers to reach out to him and work with him. So in a lot of other markets, you'll see a ton of other agents. I guess in this specific neighborhood, there's one agent listed here. But typically this will be like a drop-down menu, and it'll show other ones. But if you need boots on the ground in a market, we have this feature here where we're showing you the real estate agents that are in that area that use Privy themselves. And so you don't have to have an awkward conversation with an agent and be like, I'm a wholesaler, because they already know wholesalers are going to call them who use Privy.
That
So
makes sense.
easy way to make some friends all over the country. Yeah. Does anyone have more questions?
I'm trying to answer Cheryl's now. So Cheryl said, wouldn't you have to sell them for under 145 since that's the listed price? Yes, if they were you were going to give that 58% of ARV, you would. That's what Jessica said. Contract it for 135 and make a $10,000 assignment on it, or possibly get it at the the 155 and add on to it. He might not, the investor, he or she might not need to have it at 58% of ARV. They might be all right with 65% of ARV. So yeah, to keep that number, you would have to get it less, but work with it. And I wouldn't make full price offers on anything. If I'm going on here and looking at prices, I'm going to offer less on everything, right? Because then they're motivated.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Anybody else got any questions? I think we've done a pretty good job at looking, especially at comps, right? But just as easy to go in and look at, like she's doing now, like Jessica's doing now, just having it run and look at properties that are on market that you can buy it at a discount. You just go in and work with your filters and put the filter where you want to buy it at. But I would start with the sold comps, see what people are buying, see what they're what areas they're doing, what price point they're at, and then go into the active listings in search and see what you can find.
Yeah.
How do you calculate, Beverly wants to know, how do you calculate that to show 58% of ARV? Beverly, there's one, it's going to show up on every property card. Is going to show the percent of ARV, but you can go in and into the filter when you're doing the search and set the ARV filter so it will only show you things that you want to see. So if you just want things under 70%, under 60%, or wherever you want to be, you can set that filter when you do the search. Yeah.
And here you could see too, like this property is 120,000. These are much higher numbers, right? So you could see the percent of ARV is much lower here. Like these are really good. These were really good deals. If they were sold at this price, then this is showing as like a deal. If these are good comps, then this property is definitely a deal right here. Just so you guys know, there's a lot of other stuff in Privy. We do have off-market data if you were wondering about that. To find the off-market data, you would simply click sold here instead of active. And then we have a lot of different categories over here: absentee owner, corporate owned 20 plus years. They probably have a lot of equity. So there are a bunch of categories here, just like these other companies, are quote unquote competitors. I don't know if they're really competitors because they don't have MLS data. So we kind of do something different.
Yeah, it's a different animal, really.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we can get into I think next week we can get into that if you're looking for off market stuff and dig into what the filters do and all those. Rodney, I don't understand your question. Why would an agent that subscribed to Privy need you? An agent wouldn't.
Why would an agent use Privy, or what's the question?
Why would an agent that subscribed to Privy need me? And they wouldn't. Rodney, you're doing this to find properties for investors you're working with, not for realtors. So this is so you can find on-market properties to bring to your buyers list.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it is valuable for real estate agents to know more wholesalers who know more buyers, and you could still bring them value. And sometimes you're going to need an agent yourself, and
sure.
So they want your business.
And Jessica pointed out, you can find find Privy realtors on the system, right? So that's why everybody should get out to RIA meetings, to local real estate meetup groups, because there's a lot of realtors there. And those realtors that go to those meetings work with investors, they work with wholesalers, and you need to get out and meet people and and exchange, contact information. Take them to lunch, right? Say, hey, let's go grab a hamburger and tell me about the buyers that you work with or what you do in an investment business. And you've got to immerse yourself into the industry. Um,
Mhm.
but connect with everybody you can. Connect with contractors, connect with realtors, connect with title companies, connect with your cash buyers, other wholesalers. I mean, like everybody.
Yep. And
Cheryl
just
wants
so
to
you
know, is
guys,
there a way,
mhm.
if there's a way to clear search and start over? She made a few and must have done one wrong because it's sending from all over the country. So can you show us how, like on a save search, how to go in and delete that
on a
on a
on
save
a
search?
saved search like these.
Yeah, can you delete those? Is there a little trash can there? Can you just
Yeah,
delete
there's
it?
a trash can. You could delete
Yes.
saved searches. But if you want to reset everything, just go here to Privy Coverage, and then it takes you back to the original screen. And
Okay.
then you can basically start over and click Fix and Flip, and you can zoom into an area, or you can just type something in. So Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and you can go from there. It should reset it. You can
All
also
right.
go into even in the
She
filter
also
one
asked
too.
when I open from email, I have to go back to the email for each different zip I have saved.
When you're
So
getting from an email, like you got an email notification.
yeah, so when she's getting the notification, she clicks on it. It goes for each different zip. So it's only going to show you for the save search, right? For that zip code, it's not going to show you all of them when you go back to the thing, unless you do. I would assume do a search for a city, right, or a
Yeah,
county, and
what
don't
you
do it by zip.
what you can do too is you could take the address from that email, and you could just go to Privy Coverage and then just click here and put in the address. And you could look at the address like that. If you're trying to look at the address, um, I think without being in the algorithm for that saved search. But yeah, I mean, you could just reset it here.
Can you do a search? Do you have to do a search by zip, or can you do it by city?
No, you could do it by city.
Okay. Can you do it by county?
Um, it's no, I don't think so. It's
Okay.
by
City
city
specific.
or zip code. I haven't tried county. Um, Gaston County, maybe not.
Cheryl says in one email has different zips and no edges. Sure, I would just delete the search and do it over again, right? Just get it, scrap it, and start over again. I
Yeah, it
click on
looks
the
like you
zip and it
can do
opens
it.
this.
You can do county. It showed up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Or Cheryl, maybe we can hop on a call and help you figure it out.
Yeah. By the way,
Whatever you
guys,
guys want.
if you have a Privy account, like there's so much support here in the Learning Center. You can literally like type questions here. We have all these little courses, and there are trainings, live trainings twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, where you can ask questions and learn how to use Privy. So there's a lot of support. Um, yeah, and if you have questions, if you have a Privy account, you could just email support at privy.pro, and so they can help you as well.
All right. Um, Course on selling off-market properties. I'm going to
Oh,
do. I'm
sorry, I
going to
finished
do
on
a.
this.
I'm going to do a course on that. So yes, we will do that. Off market or selling? Do you mean off market or on market? Both. We have both. So get into wholesaling partners and we'll send me a message and we'll get that straightened out for you. Rodney, you mentioned some agents want wholesalers to contact them. How would I benefit from that? Um, I mean, if you have a relationship with a realtor, you're both going to benefit. You can bring them properties if they've got buyers and do the deal together, right? Or still get your assignment fee, right? They can do the contract and still do the assignment fee. Um, they might get a property that they don't have a buyer for and come to you for buyers. I mean, there's all different kinds of ways you can work with people. But, a lot of investors, especially now with this NAR lawsuit where, realtors are trying to figure out what they're going to do to, make money if you don't have the listing, right? Um, they're going to want to work with people, right? Anybody that can bring them deals. So again, if you've got a good investor friendly realtor that you meet at a meetup group or wherever, go out to lunch and talk about how you can work together, right? What are they looking for? What value can you bring to them, and what value can you do, right? I mean, make it a win-win so they want to work with you. You're out looking for properties, they've got buyers, they can pull MLS data for you, whatever. I mean, just make relationships. That's what this business is about.
Yeah, connections are the most valuable thing in this whole business. The more people that are doing stuff, the more transactions you can get involved in, the more things you can learn, the more opportunities you have to attend events and trainings. And there's just so much you can learn from so many people, and you can't do it all at the same time. But you'll be invited to things constantly and be able to network. And, as your career progresses, you'll already have such a good network. You never know. Sometimes people are just they'll just be like, hey, Jess, I just wanted to see if you happen to know someone who is like a lender for commercial properties, like just some random thing. But yes, I happen to know someone, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of times, even with these lenders, by the way, you guys could be making referral commissions just by knowing people. If you know someone who buys commercial properties, but they need to get a loan, and a lender that loans for commercial properties and they have a good reputation, people are always looking for good people to connect with. And you could just put yourself in the middle of that and have something worked out with a lender also to make a referral commission. So the more people the more people you can connect. And obviously don't focus on too many things. But if you're like, oh, I know this person, I know that person, and you know what, you guys should totally talk and you can make a few $1,000s on that, then that's great. So networking is super valuable.
If you guys want to be in real estate, be an investor, be a wholesaler, be whatever, you'll be surprised if you just put yourself out there, how many doors will open up for you. When I got into the investment side of the business, I started inspecting houses in Detroit for investors. And it wasn't long before one of them approached me and said, you know what, you should rehab houses for us. And I'm like, I don't know how to rehab a house. And they're like, oh, you're smart, you'll figure it out, right? And before I knew it, I had 4 full-time crews running, rehabbing houses in Michigan, doing that. Started working with investors overseas. I was doing video inspections for them, charging them $150 every time I went to a property. I'm making tens of $1,000s on rehabs that I'm doing for people. I start the website. I start doing, all this stuff is just because I put myself out there, right? And Jessica's doing the same thing. She gets involved in so much stuff because she's connecting with people and they ask her about stuff. And, that's how she went to work at Privy and all this stuff. But it's because we're connecting with people and getting out there. And if you guys want to be in the real estate investment business, it's about relationships, and it's about going out, meeting people, meeting buyers, meeting realtors, meeting sellers, all these, and building that rapport and building those connections, right? You've got to do it. If you want to be successful, you can't do it sitting in your home office behind the computer and never meeting anybody, because it's not a solo sport. It's a team sport. You've got to get out and build your team.
And you don't have to act like you know everything. Just the fact that you have the right mindset and you want to meet people and just be like, I'm like, be humble. Like, I just really want to learn, there's so much value I can get from other people. And, you only live one life, right? So how many experiences can one person have in their one life? But if you're making connections with 10 other people, 20, 30, and one of them has done novations and one of them does sub 2, and like everyone has done all these different type of things. Even if you don't have experience doing that one type of strategy, like if you know all these people and have heard different things, there's so much you can learn. Oh, you know what? This might be, that person might be a good person to talk to in this case for this property. And wholesaling is really like a way to start to get, some money up front without without putting money into it. You can make money with wholesaling. But eventually you're going to get deals under contract that might not even be the best wholesale deal, but it could be a really good type of other deal, or you could work with someone who's really great with creative finance. And then you can make what wasn't a wholesale deal into a really good creative finance deal, just based on your relationships with people. So the more people you can talk to and bring value to and have a relationship with, then at some point down the road, like that could turn into a very lucrative partnership.
Absolutely. Hey, Tim, I don't know necessarily that Jessica wants to give out her contact information because she's on here to do the trainings with us. But I think if you have a support question, you should probably contact support. I'm talking for you, Jessica.
About?
Yeah.
Depends what it is.
And
if it's for a date, I'm married. If it's for support questions, we have a support team, but it depends what it is.
That's what I was trying to head off. I'm like, he's probably just going to ask Jessica out. I don't know what's going on here, but what's your specifically, Tim, what are you looking for? Let us know. But that's what these calls are for, is like to get for Jessica come on here with us weekly and answer the questions. And maybe next time I will do a Zoom so people can, talk. And Tim said he'll contact support. Okay. It's the best way because Jessica's, she's really not the support, person. She's doing this to help us educate. But if you've got a support question, the best thing is just to click the support button and get a hold of them.
And I am always open to networking, by the way. So I'm not hard to find. Like, I'm on Facebook. You can look through David's friends and find Jessica Toth. If you want to reach out, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm not customer service at Privy, but yeah, I mean, I'm always fine with meeting people and new opportunities. You never know who you can meet.
Yeah, I just don't want to bring her on every week and just get her bogged down with like, hey, how do I fix this and how do I do that? Because that's not her role. That's not her role at Privy. So,
yeah.
Any last question, guys? We've gone over an hour here, but again, I'm going to bring Jessica on every week so we can do this, answer questions, talk about different features and different functions, just to get everybody educated on Privy. Because again, if you're looking, you're looking for wholesale deals, don't ignore on market stuff that's below value that you can make money on. It's a great method, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you guys feel like this was helpful? Do we have any feedback? Was this good?
Yeah.
What do you guys prefer to learn about?
Now or never. I think there's a delay. It takes them about a minute to answer. So. Tell us though, guys, what would you like to talk about next week on the call? Fred said, good job, Jessica. No, good job, David, maybe? I'm the one who talked to you coming on.
David, you did a great job.
I like talking to you better.
Then we need more women in this industry.
We do. Let's do. I need a state ambassador. You want to be the state ambassador for New York in wholesaling?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I want to represent New York for real estate investing.
All right, guys, if we don't get any good suggestions, we're just going to make up next week's content, not ask you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Barbara. There you go. We both did an excellent job. People just don't think I look mean, and people think I don't want any recognition, but I do. I thrive on it.
Oh, David's such a nice guy. I met David before I worked at Privy. I met Benson before I worked at Privy. So it really is all about relationships. Really, that's how I even got in here, because I met Benson, and I was doing something else before, and we got to know each other, and I could bring him value somehow. So yeah, David's a great guy. Thank you so much for your support, everybody, and for encouraging us.
Hey, Chim, I'll talk to yeah, we can maybe call an agent. So we'll talk about that. Everybody get in the group. Real quick, I'm going to throw the banner up. If you guys are not members, join the community, my.wholesalingpartners.com. Go there, sign up. It's right now, it's free to join. Get in there, be part of the community, and this is where I post all the replays and all that. If you're not already in there, and if
Do
you
they have your barcode, your QR code for your if they want to get Privy?
I need that. Oh,
all right, guys, you need this QR code. Let me find it for you, because I don't know how long we're going to be doing this massive discount, so you don't want to miss it.
I'm hoping the management at Privy just forgets about it and just leaves it there forever.
Well, we'll find it. Anyways, this video is posted up, and the link for Privy is going to be dropped in.
Yeah, the link for Privy will be below or above the video, depending on where I post it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll put it's a little bit.ly link that I made, but yep, it'll be there. So, guys,
Yep.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, I appreciate it, and we will see you next Wednesday at 1:30. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.